Oh gosh. Okay. Sorry, guys. I had one go of that and it didn't go. It didn't go. Anyway, I am back though for today's live 10-minute Tip Tuesday here on LinkedIn Live. As always, I hope that this is some of the most valuable 10 minutes of education to you that you're going to get all week. And also, as always, as a reminder, this education is for educational purposes only. If anything that I say reminds you of a specific person, a specific scenario, and makes you think that the person in that scenario might need to be assessed by a licensed healthcare provider, please make sure that you are advocating for that person to be assessed and evaluated and treated if necessary by the correct licensed healthcare provider, as this is for educational purposes only. Okay. That said, my apologies also for not posting about this earlier. I've been in live trainings all day. It's sort of been go, 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 but I wanted to make sure and still pop on here at 3 o'clock to give you your 10-minute Tip Tuesday. So we're going to be talking about something for caregivers in our first tip that is really, really important knowledge if we want to talk about safety during transfers and fall prevention during transfers. When this particular issue is not checked and addressed, it can cause some really serious falls and some really serious injuries very, very quickly for both the person who is being transferred and the caregiver themselves. Everyone kind of goes down altogether with this one. So the issue is to make sure to check the brakes on everything that has wheels that is involved in the transfer. I say all the time, it's one of the things that I think people must be really sick of hearing me say. I repeat it kind of ad nauseum, is our equipment is only as safe as we make it. Whatever medical equipment, whatever equipment you have that is being used can only be as safe as we actually use it. So one of the things that's absolutely essential before we start moving anyone in any kind of transfer scenario is checking to make sure, A, what pieces of equipment or furniture or whatever it is that are being utilized during the transfer or that are part of the transfer, which one of those have wheels? And 2, how do we lock those wheels and ensure that they are locked before we go ahead and do the transfer? So of course, normally we think about things like having wheels like wheelchairs, right? And certainly we have to make sure that both brakes on each wheel of the wheelchair are locked before we do a transfer. For power chairs, also, we want to make sure that that power chair is off before we try to do the transfer, or it's at risk of accidentally getting the handle can get budged and that thing can roll away too. But so besides wheelchairs though, we need to think about other pieces of equipment. Hospital beds often, if not always, also have wheels on them. And we have to make sure that those brakes are locked before we start moving someone in that bed or out of that bed. Also, things like rollators. Those are those four-wheeled walkers that have the seats and they have the handbrakes. We need to be thinking about those brakes and how secure that piece of equipment is before someone starts to stand up or sit down using it. When we don't ensure that things are locked, again, it can be a very high-risk scenario where we go to move someone, maybe their legs hit the back of the chair, they go to reach for it, and then that chair or that bed starts to roll away, and before we can stop it, both we and the person that we're caring for are on the floor. So we need to absolutely make sure that all of the brakes are locked. As an extra little addition to that, we need to make sure not just that those brakes are locked, but we need to make sure that they are functioning properly on that piece of equipment. Very, very often, especially if we're talking about things like rollators, like wheelchairs, over time, wear and tear on those brakes will make it so they don't lock down and actually stop wheels from turning anymore. So it's not just essential that we're making sure the brakes are locked. We need to make sure those brakes are functional. And if they aren't functional, then we need to make sure that those are being repaired as soon as possible, because really and truly, it's not safe to do transfers into a piece of equipment that cannot be safely stabilized. Okay, so that is the first tip of the day for caregivers. Second tip of the day is really for business leaders, business owners in the caregiving organization industry. Listen, if you are a business owner, if you're in a leadership position in any business, we all know that that can be a nonstop 24-hour-a-day job. But if you want to be able to keep going without burning out, you have to also be able to give yourself permission to say at a certain point, I'm done working today. That can be the hardest thing in the world to do when it's your own business, when it's your own baby, when you know that there's an endless amount of tasks before you. But guess what? There's also an endless amount of tasks before you. It's never going to stop. So it's important for our mental health, I include myself in this as well, to have a point in time that you set that boundary and you say, I'm going to stop working now. I'm going to let my brain think about something else. I'm going to let my brain relax and enjoy a walk, a run, my family, whatever it is that helps you to feel calm and kind of reset and stay motivated. Because if you go all the time, eventually you'll burn out. Of course, there are always scenarios, especially in the caregiving industry, when something might come up and, you know, no matter what time it is, you might have to address that issue. If it's a safety issue, if it's a care issue. But for those things that really, truly, it's okay for you to take a pause on so that you can recharge your batteries, it's important to give yourself permission to go ahead and stop working sometimes so that you can let your batteries recharge. Otherwise, you will run out of juice. Okay, that's it for me today. That's my tip for caregiving organizations, my tip for caregivers on today's 10-Minute Tuesday. As always, I will be back next week at 3 p.m. Central Standard Time here on LinkedIn Live with another 2 tips for caregivers and caregiving organizations, hopefully to help make your lives and your organizations run smoother, easier, safer. If you need anything in the meantime, please reach out to me. You can always send me a message over LinkedIn. I'd be happy to chat and respond to anything that I can be helpful with. All right, until next time, take care, y'all. Bye.